Welcome to INQAAHE Talks, our webinar series bringing together the global higher education quality assurance community to reflect on the most pressing issues shaping our sector today. For those who may be joining us for the first time, INQAAHE is the International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education. It is a global association of over 300 organizations engaged in the theory and practice of quality assurance in higher education. Our work spans a range of services, including a peer-reviewed journal, research and innovation awards, bulletin, and capacity building grants. We also promote the international standards and guidelines for tertiary education quality assurance, ISGs, a globally recognized reference framework that supports agencies in reflecting on and improving their practices. In addition, we provide external evaluation services and maintain a registry of agencies aligned with these standards. My name is Fawad Sadiq. I serve as Board Director of INQAAHE, and in my professional capacity, I am Director Quality Enhancement at Rifa International University, Pakistan. It is my privilege to chair today's session, and the topic of today's session is stakeholder engagement, including students, employers, support staff, and others, in strengthening relevant and effective quality assurance with a particular focus on equity and access. This topic is of particular interest because emerging evidence, including research as recent as 2026, this year, shows that meaningful stakeholder engagement is not just a procedural requirement, it is one of the strongest predictors of whether the quality assurance system leads to institutional improvement. Yet, in many contexts, engagements remain largely symbolic. Students complete surveys, employers sit on the advisory boards, and staff are also consulted from time to time. But the critical question remains, to what extent are these voices genuinely shaping decisions? And that very question sits at the heart of our discussion today. And we are joined by two distinguished speakers, each bringing a distinct but highly complementary perspective. First, Mr. Rami Awad, Regional Director for Quality for Africa and Middle East and South Asia at QS, Quarterly Simons. Rami brings a data-driven external perspective on how students and employers engage with quality signals in higher education and what this reveals about equity, perception, and access across our region. Second, we have Mr. Nasir Shah, the Director General for Quality Assurance at Higher Education Commission of Pakistan. Mr. Nasir Shah brings deep regulatory and policy experience and will help us understand what stakeholder engagements looks like from the perspective of National Quality Assurance Authority, including both its successes and its structural constraints. So just a few quick housekeeping points before we begin. All microphones are muted to ensure smooth delivery. However, this is intended to be an interactive session. Therefore, I request you to use the Q&A box throughout to submit your questions and reflections. We will address selected questions during the discussion, and I may also bring some into the conversation as we proceed. Just a reminder, this session is being recorded and will be made available on the INQAAHE website after the event at no additional cost. So without any further delay, let us begin. Mr. Rami Awad, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fawad. I'm going to share my screen and kickstart. Dr. Fawad, I hope it's visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Fawad. Everyone, welcome. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rami Awad, and I am the Regional Partnership Director at QS, Quarterly Simons. And in the sessions, I'm going to highlight a few points about QS and then go into a few points that Dr. Fawad have mentioned. Let me start it with the mission that QS has based on since 30 plus years. Our mission was mainly about empowering motivated people and candidates around the world to fulfill their potential by fostering international mobility, educational achievement, and career development. So it is really genuine to know that everything we do at QS is having the candidates at the heart of our focus. Now, along with that, let me just share some context. So the strategic insights that we have from the rankings and the indicators, and we believe such metrics should be a mirror of what's happening in the higher education. And with that, we always assess the reputation, the research, the teaching capacity, the internationalizations, and few other things that happens into such higher education quality. But mentioning about that, we always see a change of that landscape. So right now, one of the really most important things that we always face is there is really a global shift. And that shift really happens mainly because of the AI. And with that, there is such an automation and argumentation when it comes to the AI. What happened to the sustainability and the social impact? But what we believe in the sense of our communication, it really goes into the policymakers and the economies that they require a future-ready skills. And this is very important. Having mentioned that, the second point really mentioned that we will see an unprecedented growth and access. There is quite a great funds coming on, but along with that, there is even another great number of graduates that we anticipate in the next few years. So how can we really manage that? How are those ready for the future skills markets? And the last point would be, despite rankings are still matter, but it starts becoming a little bit of changed and difference. And this is actually when it comes to the relevance point of view. Right now, we talk about how is that graduates make an impact on the society, on the environment. How is that making an impact on the community? And this is where all goes into the lifelong learning opportunities. So why QS is here? Why QS is sharing such knowledge? First of all, we believe we are one-stop shop for the higher education systems. We are communicating with lots of universities, students, parents, governments, and so on. And you can see it from these slides in here. We analyze more than 8,400 universities in the world for different rankings that we have. Having mentioned that, we also having those indicator reflections of these universities, but not the universities side overall. We analyze more than 500 million job postings. And this is very crucial, where we communicate with around 120,000 employers and we receive their feedbacks. Using the global surveys into marvelous areas, we really try to see the relevance with that, with the job postings. Similarly, the way we communicate with the universities, we also communicate with the academics around the world, and we try to listen from them into several areas. Also, we analyze more than 340 million profiles of these alumni because it's really crucial to say we have the skills, we have the needs, we have the expectations. What about the graduates, the alumni that we have? This is where we also have another huge global survey where we surveyed more than 500 million students in the last 5 years, and they really tell us lots of diversified views. And I repeat again, it's very crucial to have such a big data. Speaking about government engaging, speaking about global presence in digital, and having all of those big data help us at QS in the center of it to try to see the relevant side as much as possible. This is just a quick slide saying that we at QS, we're not only a ranking agency, but we really have great interest into our rankings release. Along with that, as I mentioned earlier, we really speak to different stakeholders all over the segment to try to come up with the best possible ways. Apart from the rankings, we also have the QS World Future Skills Index. It's not the ranking per se, but it is a really crucial point to say, once we receive from the government, once we hear from the students, once we hear from the employers, how is that really ready from the overall spectrum, the skills, the curriculum, and so on. So it's very important to see that such stakeholders are no longer within the university. It's about the students and their families, employers, and the professionals within the higher education, the regulators, the policymakers, the international partners. And this is really important to highlight that we receive loads from everyone. But as Dr. Fawad mentions, with such huge databases that we have, would be one of the simplest ways to reach out would be the global surveys. And this is precisely what we do. We spread a great number of global surveys to the employers, to the students, to the academia. And the moment we hear from them, we try to analyze as much as possible. Let me quickly highlight a single point in here, such as the employer signals. Once we hear from the employers, where is that feeding and how that is really important? We really try as much as possible to see where is the job readiness? How is the higher education institutes communication, problem solving to the alumni as much as possible? What about the work exposures? Is it the old fashioned, we are educating people to get the degree and that's it? Or is it right now doing the internships, doing applied projects, doing cross-border collaboration? And the last points that we always try to find this from the employers, the reliable talents pipeline. How is it really building up the talents, whether hard skills, soft skills, and as I repeat again, with cross borders? That's very important. Now, with that, let me share something that we managed here at QS. The skills gap are often highest when they are the most needed. And this is quite a sample of one of the latest surveys that we've done. So let's say, as an example, when we talk about non-profit, now then we noticed one of the skills that need to be filled is the emotional intelligence. Another idea would be the renewable energy. We still noticed that the sustainability mindset are very important into that. So this is where it's really crucial to hear from them. And as I said, mentioned again, that it's very much important for such relevancy. Another very crucial point, and that is we always identify what is the most relevant, high growth occupational and the relevancy. So look at it from the, let's say, AI occupations to the AI demand in here. What is the percentage of the AI strategists comparing what is the demands happening from the machine learning, from the AI specialists, from the ML operations strategists, and so on. This is just a sample where we have good number of data and we can share it back to loads of different stakeholders to help them, whether aligning a curriculum within the university, aligning a specific skills. But let me jump to a different point, and that is the student signals. What we notice that usually such candidates will always try to find an answer to, will this get me a proper job or will it open me good doors? Is this degree recognized nationally or internationally? Can I afford it? Is there some way of supporting it? Can I get a job abroad for that? And this is very important to try to manage that such requirements will always get into the credible career service, the transparent outcomes, and always try to help students from major cities. Such countries will always have that impact where how can we give back to the country, but not only to our, let's say, inside the major cities. How about the major outside cities? With that, here is another output that we actually came out. We really learned from those students that 47% of such students use rankings to research study options. 45% of them say university reputation influence their final decisions. Influence, it's not the last, or let's say the decision maker, but influence. 35% attend information sessions and university fairs. 44% use social media to explore. With some data, the moment we provide such data to the higher education institutes, I am a big believer that this will help the universities rethink of how can they reach to such students and candidates from different areas. Another point would be the internationalizations. Previously, it was known that more international students or more MOUs means we are safe, we are good. That's no more. In the current era, what about the recognitions? Does that degree help me really go beyond? What about the skills and exposures? Does this university have the joint projects? Or does it have such a global classrooms? Does it have the faculty, visiting faculties? So on, about the employabilities, about the joint ventures or the twinning courses and so on. It's really important to try to analyze these things that we hear from students, we hear it from candidates, employers, alumni, and so on, really help on shaping the higher education institutes in a different way. Now, one of the last points before I hand over to Dr. Fawad would be, with the increase of the AI, and all the students and candidates are really worried about AI readiness and so on, we at QS, we actually formed a framework called AI Capability Framework. Please, I encourage everyone to access it, aicapability.org. And with that really helps on having different pillars on governance, on outreach, on teaching, research, and how the higher education institutes can really plug and manage whatever possible they can. Because ultimately, we all know AI sooner or later will become a big influencer in here. And this is where we received from the students and again from the employers. It is very much important to understand that and try to adopt as much as possible as soon as possible. With this, I thank you so much, and hopefully I'll be ready to answer any questions. Over to you, Dr. Fawad.
Thank you very much, Rami. I mean, that's a very relevant and a perspective that you have brought to this discussion, particularly the idea that employer and student perceptions are not just reputational indicators, but also a form of continuous feedback on how institutions are being experienced externally. And I think your point about the data being far more nuanced than people often assume is especially important. With that, I want to request Mr. Nasser Shah to please share your thoughts on this topic. Mr. Nasser Shah.
Mr. Fawad, thank you very much for inviting me to this August forum. And we have, I can say, I don't know, different times zones are there, but we have afternoon here. Very good afternoon to everybody from Pakistan, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk to so many people here. The presentation by Rami was wonderful. I really appreciate it's a great learning from there. In the context of Pakistan, what we have been doing for the last, like in 2002, when this Higher Education Commission was established, we have previously UGC, called as University Grant Commission, established back in 1974. And in 2002, we revamped the UGC and replaced it with the Higher Education Commission. Since 2002 till date, we soon after its creation, we have developed a QA framework, basically a structured framework, and that framework is basically based on two major parameters of quality assurance: the internal quality assurance and external quality assurance. We have developed criteria, guidelines. We have revamped the curriculum. There were so many initiatives that have been taken by the Higher Education Commission to strengthen the higher education in Pakistan. And for that, the quality assurance framework was basically two components: the institutional level performance evaluation, that includes 11 standards, and at the program level, we had 9 standards, self-assessment standard, we call it. And at the same time, we have a different, unique arrangement in Pakistan, where we have established quality enhancement cell within each university in order to prepare the university through its internal processes and internal mechanisms. So the QEC had been very active in implementing the policies of the Higher Education Commission in all aspects. So from 2002, when we have established this quality assurance agency and quality assurance divisions, we worked on developing the criteria, the guidelines, the standards. Parallel to that, we also engaged actively with the higher education sector through different capacity building workshops on these standards and these guidelines. Today, we have a sector of 282 universities across Pakistan, plus we have more than 4,000 colleges affiliated with these public sector universities in the country. More than 3 million students are enrolled in the higher education sector. So if we look at this journey of quality assurance in Pakistan, we have learned a lot during all these years. From 2005 and 6, when we developed these institutional performance evaluation standards and program level standards, we have learned a lot. We have conducted reviews of the universities. We completed the first cycle of on the institutional performance as well as on the program level standards. The program level standard, as my colleague Mr. Rami also mentioned, students have been a very important part of it. Even in the previous QA framework that we had when HEC was established, even in that there was a feedback mechanism within the standards where the student at the end of the semester is supposed to give their feedback, both in terms of the curriculum, the kind of a curriculum that they were taught, and the quality of teaching and delivery. They also have to give feedback at the end of every semester. So through that framework, within the universities, the engagement between the faculty and the students and the administration had been very active. And we have also learned from that. But we have learned during all these years, back in 2019 when COVID happened. So we also realized that our model is mostly based on compliance based. So we realized that merely complying with something is not enough. So we did that we, in collaboration with the British Council in Pakistan and with the UK Quality Assurance Agency, we had conducted several studies on student success and the mechanism that we had already introduced. And as a result of that gap analysis study, we had such, for example, we had conducted 3 studies. One was on governance of the current higher education sector in Pakistan and the leadership involved in managing these higher education sector universities in the country. So we have a 3rd study on this previous QA framework, that how far we were successful in assuring the quality within the higher education sector. So our findings were that the students' engagement was a weaker part in the whole quality assurance system. So we pointed out that. And besides that, the stakeholder engagement was also weak in a way. And the student success was also weak due to these less engagement. The employers relations, the employers or employees relations, we have conducted several surveys on that. So our findings were that the previous framework was mostly focused on compliance, not on the real learning outcomes of the students. So we moved from that. The new framework is now, we call it as PSG 2023. My colleagues can just log into our website at the Higher Education Commission and can just browse just by writing PSG 2023. You can just look at it, that new framework that we have introduced since 2022-23. Mr. Fawad is witness to this, had been part of these orientations. We had a large scale engagement. We engage the orientation sessions on those new framework include students, faculty, deans, directors, vice chancellors, registrars from the administration side. So we had an exclusive large-scale engagement with the universities on orientation of this new framework. So now we can say that we have, let me share with you that we have now also planned another engagement series with deans on this new framework, which we'll be conducting next month from 2nd week of June. So we'll be exclusively engaging deans. So because we think the deans or the academic heads within the institution say they must be engaged very actively in that. But just to share with you quickly, that the student engagement, we have introduced a new term called as Student Council for Academic Learning and Enhancement. Fawad knows more about it. This Student Council for Academic Learning and Enhancement is a practical mechanism for institutionalizing student voice actually. It provides a formal route through which students can contribute to academic quality, feedback system, program review, institutional review, and continuous enhancement. The strongest framing is that scale gives, we call it as scale, the Student Council for Academic Learning and Enhancement. The acronym for this is scale. So the scale gives structure, the student voice. The lead student representatives gives leadership to student participation, and student submissions provide evidence for review panels. So in our new, when we'll be conducting this performance reviews of the institutions at program as well as at institution level, student body will be a mandatory part of it. They'll be part of this review. Previously, they were not actively engaged in that. Although we had some feedback from their side, we used to engage them separately, but not structurally. This time we have structured this, and through this scale, we believe that it will not merely be a student committee, but it will also organize representative and development platform that support both quality assurance and student capacity building through scale. We also believe that this scale would provide an opportunity to our students on the campuses of a leadership development that we think we are expecting in the country. Again, as far as the other active engagement with the other stakeholders, especially the employers in the industry, we at Higher Education Commission have separate sections where we have a few offices, like we have policies, and to look into those policies and to develop a capacity of the people there. For instance, to actively engage the to the industry, to actively engage them into curriculum review. They are part of the curriculum review. They are again in advisory boards. For example, our students conduct their or carried out their internship in these industries. So we have ORIC languages, Office of Research Commercializations, that we have established within the universities. And we have also business incubation centers within the universities. We have given a policy to the universities to engage students in business plan development, etc. So these are few initiatives that we do with our stakeholders group. Support staff within the universities, if you see institutional self-assessment, service quality feedback, review meetings, operational committees, again, students services, academic administration, learning support, accessibility, and operational effectiveness are carried out through these engagements. Faculty and academic leaders that include, they are also part of, you see, we have a board of studies, board of faculty, we have reviews meeting, we have continuous quality improvement cycles. We have recently devolved this quality assurance, that is, we have certain principles where we say that quality is everyone's responsibility within the university learning environment. As far as our framework is concerned, we have a three-part of that framework, where we have the institutional performance review, we have the program level, we call it as pre, we call it as ripe, and we have these RECOB standards for our accreditation agencies. We have an arrangement that where we have accreditation councils that accredit undergraduate programs within the country. So we also are working with them. For these, we have standards. We'll also be soon. We have already conducted a self-assessment study with the few councils that include the Accreditation Council in Education, Agriculture, Business Education, Technology, and Computer Sciences. We also already conducted on the new framework. We conducted a self-assessment study with that, and we have findings there. Likewise, as I said, we will be initiating after this Dean's Orientation Conference series in the next month. Soon after it, we have planned we are going to plan exclusive capacity building series on the student engagement, and we call it as scale. So we have to develop the capacity of our universities, HR, and actively engaging the students in teaching and learning and research, etc. So that's how we do it. As far as the equity and access in the Pakistani context, QA context is concerned, as I said, we have more than 3 million students enrolled in our country. We have colleges, we have universities, and we are working with them. We have smart classrooms developed for them in the country. We have a video conference facilities within the universities. We call it as a SPUN project. You can just log into our HEC website and you can see all those initiatives. So I think we can talk more about it when we will receive more question about it. Mr. Fawad, if you just, I think that's all from my side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nasir Shah. That was an extremely valuable and grounded perspective. Hearing directly from someone working at the national policy level and dealing with these realities in practice rather than in theory, I think gives a global audience a much clearer sense of what stakeholder engagement actually looks like on the ground. What we now have are two different but highly complementary perspectives, one from inside the regulatory system and one from outside it, looking across institutions and regions through large-scale data. So let us bring those perspectives into conversation with each other and also with the excellent questions that I'm already seeing on the Q&A chat box coming in from our audience. Listening to both of our guests, I think an important tension begins to emerge here. Across higher education globally, quality assurance systems are increasingly emphasizing enhancement, continuous improvement, and development of a genuine quality culture, as rightly mentioned by Mr. Nasir Shah, moving beyond a purely compliance-driven approach. At the same time, however, recent research continues to show that meaningful stakeholder engagement remains one of the weakest dimensions of many QA systems across the globe. Institutions may consult students, employers, and staff, but the critical question is how much influence do those stakeholders actually have in shaping decisions? So let me put that question directly to both of our panelists. My question straight up is how much of what we call stakeholder engagement is genuinely shaping institutional quality and how much of it is essentially paper compliance? Ms. Nasisha, from regulatory side, what do you actually see when you look beneath the surface?
Actually, Mr. Fawad, if you see, these are our findings, and we have been for the last 20 plus years. I've been in teaching for quite some time, for 11 years, and now at the other side of the table, I'm working with the regulator, Education Commission. You can see for yourself that the culture of quality assurance, experts says that it's, academic quality cannot come through enforcement. It needs a grounded approach where everyone is responsible for quality assurance within the context of the higher education. We call it as a university, for instance. So there's a whole environment need to be developed. This is what we have learned actually, that unless there is a culture of quality within the institutions, if you look at the big brands in a way, everybody knows within the Europe or in America, these brands like Harvard, like Stanford, or so many others, Cambridge and Oxford, and so many others. They have actually, what we have learned, that I've been to some of these campuses, there is a culture developed there. So we have also realized, and our theme when we were working on, as you know, you have been part of that, where we are continuously, preaching this, that unless we develop a culture of equality within the institution where everyone takes a responsibility, we I don't think we'll be able to help our students. And the student engagement in all these processes and in these all efforts is a must. They are focal to it. They are the key stakeholder in that. Unless we take them on board, I don't think we'll be able to achieve the desired results in terms of student success within the sectors. Although they'll be having a degree on papers, but unless they're understanding, especially in today's world where AI is, growing like nothing, it's coming every day. There is innovation, there is creation. So we have to prepare our students. We have to really engage them uh, uh, in the best possible manner that we can do. Besides just working on papers usually, this is what we believe, that we have bundle of papers, all these surveys, but on ground we need some practical steps there.
And Rami, does institutional behavior and data you observe through the QS data point in the same direction? Do you have any reflections on that?
Thank you, Dr. Fawad, and thanks to Mr. Nasser as well. I echo. It's quite important to reflect it as much as possible. But there are sometimes that such independent international organizations, all what we do is try to nudge. We try to make an impact as much as possible. Sometimes there are external factors, but still it is not crucial to know that whatever we feed back to the universities is for the benefit of the universities. I agree sometimes culture will play a role in here, but still I'm positively sure we can learn on one way or another while hearing such feedbacks. I have a quick example to say from one of the African regions that the university is really doing well generally in multiple indicators except employer reputation. And that comes from the survey that we hear from the employers. And that was quite puzzling to them. How come we always invest to have the best alumni, to have the best reputation, but still we are not really breaking through with the employers until they themselves elaborated a little bit more and they understood their alumni usually graduates with the best possible hard skills. But unlucky soft skills are still lacking behind. And this is where they heard from the employers, from decision makers, yes, I need someone who's excellent in AI strategist, but if he's not a team player, if he's not agile, if he's not XYZ, probably I would consider hiring from another university. So this is where it's really crucial to understand those feedbacks, and then we try to impose it, or I would say share the knowledge internally as much as possible. Over to you, Dr. Fawad.
Thank you. And I would like to bring our focus towards the power imbalance. I mean, there's also something slightly uncomfortable underneath this entire conversation that I think we should acknowledge directly. Genuine stakeholder engagement requires institutions to share power, to be willing to change something important based on what they hear. But universities are deeply hierarchical institutions. And in many cultural contexts, including across South Asia, students and junior staff may not always feel comfortable speaking critically about institutional quality. So how do we design stakeholder engagement processes that actually recognizes those power dynamics rather than pretend they do not exist? So, Mr. Nasir Shah, if you would like to first reflect on this before I take Rami's point of view on that.
Fawad, you have raised a very critical question. Thank you very much for raising this question. Actually, you see, at the Higher Education Commission here in Pakistan, what we did is that we have these standing committees on education in the Senate as well as in the Parliament. What we did is that we have to take everybody. And this is what we have realized, that unless we take the key stakeholders on board, we cannot achieve the desired result. So what we did is that, the politicians, they also need to know what we are doing at the Higher Education Commission. So we are presenting to them that, look, we are working like this with the universities. So now they are also on board, the politicians, especially in the standing committees of education, both at Senate and the National Assembly. We have the parliament composition is like this, that we have a lower house and an upper house. The lower house is National Assembly and the upper house is Senate, where we have these two committees on education. So I personally give presentation on quality assurance and the need of all that. Even we also talk on the student engagement, because there's a hard question there that students are not actively engaged. So we give a presentation to them. They are very much with us. One. Secondly, we are also engaging in a way, as you see, within the university community. So it's not only the faculty there, the students there, but even the whole faculty staff is there. So what we do is, what we expect the universities, that they shall take on board all the employees of the university, that look, in order to, in a way that, because you see, the admission office, the exams office people, those who, in a way, they're not directly in front, but behind, they also work there. So we also have to have trained them. We have exclusive training programs for the controller of examinations. We also work with the student affairs, where we have another initiative of the Higher Education Commission, where we have, after realizing that students sometimes face problems, they are not actively, or they're not, they don't, they're not that, they're not, their problems are not properly addressed or timely addressed. Mr. Fahd, you already know, you are witness to this, that we have these youth development centers within the universities, and they have already student affairs offices within the universities, where students and faculty, and as well as the administrative offices of the universities, are actively engaged with each other. And we have created a one window solution to the students' problems. Even the students' counselors are there now. So our framework, in a way, we want to really implement that on ground, and we are working closely with the universities, right from the gatekeeper of a university to the office of the vice chancellors. We just say them that, look, we are all there for the students. Even the Higher Education Commission, we here at the Higher Education Commission, and my own team, these are the years experience that we have learned, that we are all for the student success, actually working in a way, in a different way. With the Higher Education Commission, within the university mechanisms, these standards and everything, all are these for the student success. We want to see them successful in their futures, in their personal life, as well as in their professional lives. So we do every effort to include them, inclusive approach within the university, where students' voices are actively heard, and they are actively engaged in the university's teaching learning processes within the universities. And we are happy to share this news with you, and you are a witness to this, that yes, there are cases in some universities, we can say, but mostly realized that we are for the students there. So this realization is very important, and based on that, every university is now trying hard to develop a culture within the university where students are properly heard and their voices are properly, incorporated into the system for improvement.
Thank you, Ms. Najsha, for your reflections on this very important question. I would just want to take Rami, if you have anything to share with us on this point.
We believe there are external factors that we have to face it sooner or later, such as the AI challenges. And I would like to say such rankings and ratings and accreditations would be also a part of it. There are sometimes we believe that there is a wave coming. So either we try to surf on it and we get the best of it, or sometimes if it's not suitable, then we try to learn as much as possible and we back out. I am a big believer that sometimes change would be difficult, but nonetheless, it is still required. And this is what we always try to do. We try to tell everyone that sooner or later, word of mouth is important. Sooner or later, changes in curriculum is important. Sooner or later, adapting to AI is important. Now, we believe, again, faculty in the universities per se would really challenge that. And they would say, we need to focus on our current regional or let's say local challenges. But still, what really QS and all similar organizations really try to take you to the global audience. That means sometimes we need to take, I would say, uncomfortable decisions, such as sharing the quite exact knowledge with the stakeholders. Stakeholders should really, decision makers, leadership should really understand that we have a challenge as this. We are anticipating a change in 3 years. We need to do it now, otherwise we might be left behind. So this is where knowing such information, but feeding it back to the different stakeholders, alumni department, admission department, HR department, and so on, is very crucial to any higher education institutes.
Thank you, Rami, and very rightly pointed out that the age of AI requires a lot of change in the organizations. And both of you work in environments where data about student and employers experience is more available than ever before, through surveys, through digital platforms, rankings data, and institutional systems. But are institutions actually using that data well? Are universities using stakeholder data to drive genuine quality improvement, or are they mainly using it for reporting, for branding, and rankings positioning? What's your take on that, Rami? Then I'll take the Nasir Shah Saab's perspective.
It's a harsh question, Dr. Fawad. What I noticed is still there are room to grow at this side. Still, I don't want to say that some strategies are being built because of the rankings. And I genuinely believe it should be the other way around. It's a proxy, it's a campus. It tells you what is your best possible ways to go in this separate directions. Sometimes the general QS rankings will not give you the right answer. Sometimes QS subject rankings will give you the right answer. And this is where, at the moment, what I noticed is still it needs still more knowledge to decipher not only rankings, but decipher such insights in terms of how do we attract the best possible students, not to be able to increase the number of international students, but in terms of after 5 to 6 years, someone who will be graduating and will become the best entrepreneur and who will be the best representation to our university, our region, and our country. It's still, there is a little bit more to go for that. How is the research helping me reflecting on reputation? How is the reputation helping me reflect where do I stand? And so on. Still, there are still room to grow. I would say to the right direction, but still there has to be more movement into this.
Thank you for that perspective. And Ms. Nasisha, what's your take on it?
Mr. Fawad, thank you very much. I think I totally agree with Mr. Rami, and we are also facing the same problem here. What we did is that, with this digitization at large scale, at Higher Education Commission, we are closely working with our university. Recently, you see, we have initiated so many digitizing issues with, for example, our financial and management areas where we are asking universities to digitize all these, but they are still facing there. Many of our universities are still struggling with that. And we have also realized that previously we supposed to do this performance evaluation standards. And so it's a kind of, through a manual way of doing it. But this time we realized that the new framework, unless we have a digitized version of that, the universities won't be able to do that. What we did is that we have almost digitized the new QA framework, the right part of it, and we'll be soon conducting a pilot of that. We do realize that there will be a challenge with the university, but we'll hold the hand of a university on that as well. We'll give orientation to the universities on digitization of these whole data of performance reviews, because these include 16 standards and then sub-standards of that. So enormous data, there are huge data there. So but we hope that some of the universities in Pakistan are very good with that. They already know, but yes, a good number of universities also need orientation on that of digitization. That will be a challenge for us as well, because next month, first or second week, we'll be conducting pilot study of that automation application that we have developed for the new QA framework. We'll be sharing that with the few universities in Islamabad, and then we'll be sharing that with other universities, but we'll be giving them orientation on how to digitize their data. So that will be a challenge. It's still a challenge, as Rami mentioned, but we are working with that and we are struggling. We hope that universities don't have any choice but to digitize their data, and that will also help in, their credibility, transparency, and their integrity. When they digitize all their data, definitely that will also add value to those areas which I mentioned.
So thank you very much, Mr. Nazir, for a very detailed response to that question. I have a lot of questions coming in from the audience, but before we start taking the audience question, I just have just a couple of questions before we conclude this panel discussion and move on to audience questions. So I mean, we have spent a fair amount of time today discussing what has been done to improve the stakeholder engagements, and also highlighted some areas where things are not working. From your own professional experience, not from a report or formal case study, but something you have personally seen, can you share one example where stakeholder engagement genuinely worked for an institution? A moment where students, employers, staff, or communities actually influenced a meaningful quality decision. Rami, let me start with you on that.
One of the examples that I'm quite proud of, and we try to, as I mentioned, share the knowledge as much as possible. Co-designing a curriculum that is mainly built up for the country. And this is genuinely a very crucial point, in my opinion. At the moment, how is our students and candidates taking the journey of the study? But after that, how are they ready to help in the genuine employer market? Now, one of the really important examples of such communication happened is one of the university genuinely communicated with another very powerful organizations, and they understood they need to redesign their curriculum in terms of computer science, as an example. And with that, what should the students take in year 1, year 2, 3, 4? What kind of extra micro credentials, in which areas they have to take it, at what time they have to take it. So the moment they graduate, they would require less training from the employers. And that, in my opinion, was very much genuine, and it really helped. One of the universities I gave you an example about, that those graduates have helped boost the performance of the employer in an excellent way. Now, why that is really important to me? Because first of all, you are helping a country sorting a genuine problem, which is, I need my graduates to find the right job. What we noticed is majority of those graduates find jobs in alternative ways, not necessarily in their area of study. But not only that, it really boosts the confidence of those employers towards the university. That simply opened the door for an extra opportunities, such as doing a research for one of the issues they have as an employer, that actually lead to quite a good funding opportunity. So if you can see what kind of domino effect that we are trying to do here at QS. Now, this is just one example of what we can do. I hope it gave you an example of it.
Yeah, that's a very nice example. I mean, Mr. Nasir Shah, do you have any examples from Pakistan or in the region that you can share with the audience?
Yes, thank you very much. Rami has very well mentioned that. And what we did is what we did here in Pakistan recently, and you're aware of that. We have this institutional quality circle within our universities, which were previously not existed. This is a mandatory part of it, where within the university community, the deans are there, the vice chancellor is heading that, the HODs are there, the faculty members are there. So the whole community is represented in that institution quality circle. So they all take, you know, they collaborate, they shared, and through this shared approach, every aspect is discussed within this IQEC, as we call it, as institutional quality circle of the universities, where they are engaged, and major decisions are taken there, with consensus, and they discuss at length. So this IQEC model that we have recently introduced to the universities within the which was one of the requirement of the this new framework, where universities have actually created these platform where all these stakeholders within the academic community of the university, they engage and they discuss every part of it. Students are also part of it in a way. And we also believe that this will lead to actively not only within the university, but they'll also engage the key stakeholders. Because when ideas comes, when you have relevant people around, the academic dean is the academic head, for instance, HOD is there, the faculty is there, the vice chancellor is there, when the director QEC is there, people from the financial side are there, the planning people are there. So when all these stakeholders within the university are there, definitely ideas comes, and then through internal stakeholder engagement, provide a platform for the external engagement. For instance, the industries people will be invited to the universities for a talk. The entrepreneurs are usually universities engage entrepreneurs from the industry, and they just come and give a talk to the students. And likewise, the industries for research projects, universities, many of the universities in Pakistan are now actively working closely with the industry to have projects, at large scale. So I believe that the best example in our case is this institution quality circle that have, we have a data that more than 80% of the universities have actually created these platforms that they are actively, discussing and engaging to improve the different aspects of the higher education with the country, whether if it is teaching or research or student engagement or all other decision making. That's actually, that's a good example that I can share.
Thank you so for sharing your experience. And I just want to close the discussion before I move on to audience questions with something very practical. Uh, if a university or a QA agency approached either of you tomorrow and said, I mean, we genuinely want to improve stakeholder engagement, not just satisfy a compliance requirement, what is the first concrete step you would advise them to take? Not a full framework, not a policy document, just one practical action that actually changes the behavior. Ms. Nazisha, first from you.
Pardon, if you can repeat it for me, I just digress.
Yeah. So the question is, if a university or a QA agency approach you tomorrow with a genuine interest to improve stakeholder engagement, not just satisfying the compliance requirements only, what is the first concrete step you would advise them to take?
Well, to the universities, I would say that students, since students are the, sorry. Sorry, Fawad. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're
I would suggest a university to, to, as they're responsible when a student is enrolled within the university, definitely now the university is the responsibility to groom that student and in many ways, not only to develop the student's cognitive skills or psychomotor skills or other skills, but besides that they have to prepare that student for the society as well as for his professional life as well. So I think student should be the key, should be the VIP for a university, where they should actively trace every of their students after getting a degree. They should also create an environment. They should also be engaging externally with the employers, expected employers or the market or the industry, where there should be active connections so that when the students complete his degree or his education here, they should not be facing any problem, and they shall be placed well in time there, and they shall be tracked down that whether whatever they have been taught over all these years, how much of it was useful there. And the alumni active engagement, if the keyword, if I share a keyword here, would be the active engagement with alumni of the university.
Thank you, Ms. Nazisha. Rami, what's your advice to someone seeking genuine stakeholder engagement?
One of the points I would focus on would be sharing the right mindset with everyone. So it's actually up to the such decision makers and leaderships. Would they like to be #1 university attracting the students? Would they like to be #1 university in a specific research point? Would they like to be the #1 university in global engagements? But knowing that SWOT analysis, the really key difference would be not only on a leadership level, everyone in the university, all different stakeholders, including students, to know this mindset and actually follow. Everyone should speak the same language of such decision that has been taken. Should we go sustainability? Then everyone should follow that, understand that. If we ask any 3 people, any 3 different stakeholders, faculty, students, and leadership, all of them should have the same answers.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nasisha and Mr. Rami, for this detailed discussion and answering all the questions from different dimensions. I would now move on to the audience questions. We already have several excellent questions coming from the audience, and I want to make sure that we give them a little attention as well. The first question that we have is from Dr. Manai Adila. Please pardon me if I pronounce your name wrong. The question is from Rami, I guess. 45% of students say university reputation influences their final decision. So the question is, what roles do students have as stakeholder to build and maintain reputation of their institution, even after admission and graduation?
This is honestly an excellent question, because students and candidates really play a very crucial points into such a reputation. Let me give it from this way. Ideally, the number of faculty at any higher education institute will be much limited comparing with the number of students at that university. So let's just take the example of 50% of those students really share the good, positive news and achievements of the university. That would really make a bigger and kind of like more scalable impact than if the university wanted to reach it out. In a second level to it, students will be in a few years either the next academia or the next employer or the next producer. So if the university from this level understand how such reputation help in achieving that to a university, this person, he or she, I bet, will become an excellent ambassador to the university even after 5-6 years. And I would say this is what really differentiates in some universities globally, I would say in these top tier, because they are loyal and proud of those universities even after 40 to 50 years. And this is what makes quite a genuine. If I, as a student, have the mindset of the rankings, Still, I would move and navigate into my own way. I'll definitely be able to influence a decision of an employer, influence a decision of my friend, of my father's, of my, let's say, friend's parents into coming to a university.
Uh, we have another question from Anwar Masood, and he wants to know that how do you deal with subjectivity in the surveys, both positive and negative? Do you have verifications to ensure the surveys meet your standards? So I think this question is again from Rami.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So one of the points is we don't take negative reviews. We only send the surveys to everyone in our database, which is a big database of academia, employers, the students, and we simply ask them, in your area of expertise, please select up to, let's say, 10 universities. So assumingly you have a negative feedback, a negative experience with one of the universities, we don't trigger that. Now, when we go into the positive side of it, and subjectivity is a genuine side, this is where, first of all, we have good data science to try to exclude any coached responses. We try to, as much as possible, have it as genuine as possible. If we notice, someone voted for 3 universities in not really good way, there's a good chance that this response will be excluded. But let's be realistic. I would definitely have 1 to 2 preferences. But then QS will also try to capture your own view about the remaining. And this is what really makes the difference. If I know Dr. Fawad, then I might be entitled to vote for you. But one vote will not really make the whole difference because I still will vote for another 29 international universities. And this what really brings the whole big data into the picture. That is really important to understand that, yes, we might receive one not genuine, but still that person will give us his view, his or her view about the remaining institutions. And this what really moves as a big shift, big indication. And I believe that's quite helpful. Still, it might be subjective to 1, 2, but keep in mind, we also, we ask the universities to provide some names, and we will add that to our databases. So it's also important for you to keep communications and correspondence with everyone. If I hear your news, Dr. Fawad, and I hear the news from another 100 universities, that might really help me, beside my own intelligence, to try to capture what are the best possible from those universities, and it will definitely help overall. Thank you.
So our next question is from Dr. Bassam Al-Hamad. He wants to know, is there any impact so far in measured terms at the university and national levels for stakeholder engagements? Mr. Nasir, would you like to comment on this question? Are there any impact studies so far?
Yeah, this is a very general question. Impact, especially impact on what? Impact on governance, impact on the financial performance, impact on the academic quality of the university. There is, number of things what we can talk of the real impact. But actually, there are some indicators or KPIs you can say that how we gauge a university. Mr. Rami can better talk on this because they rank universities both at subject level as well as the institution level. But we, and the layman, how he or she takes it, the layman indicator would be that if a student spent 4 years for an undergraduate degree, 120 credit hours in our case, how he or she is successful in his or her professional and personal life. So that indicator is the employment, right? If a university A graduates are employed well in time and their employment ratio is high, people consider it as that's a good university. So we have here in Pakistan, there are a few universities where students are, contacted in advance and they are placed in various companies and multinationals, right? So that can be one indicator in terms of, as you said, but there are many other indicators as well. For instance, in terms of research, universities has contributed to the applied side of a research besides the basic side of the research. So that can be another indicator where a university can be engaged as well. So there are many ways where we can gauge the university. But for me, the impact, we don't have a study like this. Maybe there are some researches conducted, but I don't I cannot refer that exactly. But this is what my own study at the PhD level was, to not to impact, but to see how the governance of the universities and the leadership within the universities actually influence the performance of university in terms of financial performance, in terms of quality of teaching, research within the university. That's my own study there. I have a few findings there, very interesting findings. We'll talk more about it at some another stage. But very interesting
So
results,
Rami,
findings. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. So Rami, do you have any examples for any assessment impact studies on stakeholder engagement and its impact on the institutions?
One of the examples I am thinking and I would like to provide would be the QS subject rankings becomes really genuine at this stage. Communicating with academia and communicating with employers will open doors on those recognitions, will open doors on these correspondence. So I'm assuming if I'm speaking to someone named Ahmed, eventually he would recognize me. But later on, when the insight comes in and I realize there is, I didn't get the recognition from Ahmed, I have to question myself, why is that? Probably this engagement is not the most suitable for me. And where is that really leading to in the subject rankings? Some universities will believe they are strong in a certain area and they have a good collaboration with one country. But then when the surveys comes into the picture, that will provide good insights to them, saying despite the universities having good collaboration from the research point of view, but it's not getting reflected into the reputation. And that really begs the question, why is that? What more can we do? And what I've noticed from some universities, while taking such insights, they start recalibrating their strategy on focusing on another subjects and probably focusing on a different countries. And that quite helped them in getting recognitions and getting a higher rank in that specific subjects.
I'll just take a couple of more questions before we go on to the conclusion of our session today. The next question is how AI can support stakeholder engagement in the present days, from Mr. Asif Heather. Yeah, I think Rami would be the most relevant person to respond. Yeah.
So is it Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Nasser?
would you like to respond?
I can highlight a few points in here.
Yeah.
Ideally, in such engagements, in such insights, we always wish to know the best possible data so it can help me recalibrate my strategy. And we really noticed AI can honestly provide a lot of visualizations, but still deciphering those visualizations are important. And I believe AI can very much help into this, having data from different sources. Because genuinely, I repeat again, I don't want the higher education institute change something massively because of QS. We wish QS to have an impact on the decision. And having mentioned that, having also other sources of data. I am a big believer AI will help refining those data based on different sources so I can have the best possible data, best possible insights to take a decision. One of the decisions would be, I am, let's say, not doing well in international students, but still genuinely, I cannot attract very much international students. So there is a limited room to improve at that area. But the second and the most important, I would say, which is a complementary to this, is I, as a university, as an academia, as a faculty, I still need to promote myself, promote my subject, my college, my university. And I believe AI still will help into that, knowing which areas to go. Should I brand myself or my paper or my students into social medias? Should I do that promotional into the email perspective? Should I really focusing on the website and how is that website helping us from the footfall? So still AI would definitely help on a higher level.
Fawad, let me add something to what
Sure. Yeah.
Mr. Rami has said.
Yeah.
We have also, recently, you might know, because you are in a leading university there, the Higher Education Commission, realizing the stakeholder engagement, especially the students' engagement, especially with the new tools like AI. We have made it mandatory, a course in every subject of AI, so the students start learning it and engage it. One part of it. Secondly, now we also have conducted training here at Higher Education Commission for our own employees. We have invited guest speaker on AI experts coming to the Higher Education Commission and given employees a training on using AI and actually engaging through these AI tools, both in our system as well as in our mobiles. Okay. So that's a good thing. And let me tell you that now we have also a policy. Almost it will be the next week it will issue the ethical use of AI, so that we are encouraging now our students and the officials within the university as well as in our own working environment to use AI effectively, um, and keeping in view the ethical use of it actually. So more and more people are now using AI. Even I have seen people using install their apps on the mobile in our country. Even students are very much aware of that. Even the school students are now engaged in using of AI as well. At one side, it's very positive. It's have its positive sides as well as its negative sides as well. So that's the area where we have to, get in the teachers, for instance, the policymakers. So we have to play our role in that, so that there is not a misuse of this AI within, so does not disrupt our lives as well. So yes, as I said, students are now at all level, at higher education level and schools level, they're actively engaged in using AIs and many other stakeholders as well. We mostly communicate in our official matters. We also use AI as well.
So we probably have time for one final question from the audience, and I'll take this one, which is a little bit more relevant to what we are going to offer in a while. The question is from Mr. Kamar Rahman. What competencies should future QA professionals develop to remain effective in an increasingly data-driven and globally connected higher education environment? Ms. Nasir Shah, that's the question from you.
Yeah, exactly. What in our QA, as we are actually engaged with our structured approach within the quality assurance system in Pakistan, where we have quality enhancement cell or equivalent department within the university, where we engage them in many ways, as I said earlier, that they have to engage with the faculty actively within the university. We are just giving orientation on that, student engagement with the students as well. As far as these standards that we have already shared with the universities, we are also emphasizing on them through our trainings and orientation that look, the Higher Education Commission has given you a policy on quality assurance, but it doesn't mean that you don't develop your own policy. So in order to develop your own policy, you have to engage all the academic community within the university to develop that policy. So that's how we are, so that everybody is engaged in, and partner in quality assurance within the university system. So that's how we are working with our universities.
Thank you, Ms. Nasisha. Ms. Rami, if you would like to add something here, do you have something for the future QA professionals? Would you like to highlight?
Just a minute, just to add in one thing,
Sure.
Mr. Fawad,
Yeah,
as you are
yes.
aware, so we have today we have just launched, we have issued a letter asking. We have a network of quality assurance, PANCAHE, as you see. Sorry, my camera is no, sometimes it's stuck. I'm sorry, you cannot see me. Oh.
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem, but you
it's
are
hang
audible.
up. It's hang up. My camera hang up. What I would like to share with you is that we have developed, yes, now you can see me. We have developed a micro credentials, as you know, in quality assurance. So from next month, we have launched this today. The brochure is there on the PANCAHE website, Pakistan Network of Quality Assurance. You are part of it, Fawad, in a way, as a member. So the Quality Assurance of Higher Education Commission and the PANCAHE together with international partners and some resource person in that. Mr. Sohail Naqvi, the ex-executive director, our current executive director, will be among the resource persons on those micro credentials that we are offering to our QA professionals, to the vice chancellors, to the deans. That's another initiative that we have taken recently to know more about quality assurance and risk management, its implementation within university culture, etc., etc. So this is a new thing that we have developed. We have a whole structure courses for that. If you are interested, you can see it on the PANCAHE website.
Yeah, definitely. We will look forward to it. Mr. Rami, if you have any comments on the last point, and
I'm not the best to answer such, Dr. Fawad, but one of the things that I've actually thought about would be AI fluency at the moment is extremely important. Mr. Nasser already highlighted it. And along with that, it goes a few other levels such as cybersecurity, knowledge, and so on. Another area which is very crucial is the data governance. And I would say from a data governance, again, it can actually escalate into regional relevancy. So it's, in my opinion, really important for such QA to analyze that university and how it helped the region itself. So the region can help the university and the whole university can help the region. There is one of the regions strong in sustainability, another region strong in computer, third region strong in business. How can we be such relevant into these areas? The final point would be the balance between the accreditations and rankings and how do we navigate through into those indicators and lenses altogether.
thank you. That was an excellent note to end the discussion on. Mr. Nasir Shah and Mr. Rami Awad, thank you once again. What both of you brought today, the regulatory perspective, the regional context, the institutional realities, and the data-driven insights shared by Mr. Rami made for an exceptionally rich discussion for today's session. For me, I think one idea stands out very clearly from today's conversations and what we have been following for over the past few years. The challenge of stakeholder engagement is not, I think, primarily technical. We already have frameworks, standards, surveys, and governance structures. The deeper question is whether institutions and quality assurance systems are genuinely prepared to be influenced and changed by the voices they invite into the conversation. So ultimately, that is a leadership issue. And it is exactly the kind of conversation that INQAAHE must continue to create space for globally. And to all of you joining us today from Pakistan, across the AMESA region, Africa, Europe, Asia, Central Asia, South Asia, and beyond, thank you for your thoughtful participation and engagement throughout the session. Your questions and reflections have added enormously to the quality of today's discussion. A reminder that today's session has been recorded and it will be made available on the INQAAHE website shortly. Please do stay connected with INQAAHE and continue engaging with the global community of practice. You would be pleased to know that INQAAHE is launching a foundation QA program for all our global QA community in July 2026, hopefully. So please stay connected for more details soon. On behalf of the INQAAHE, the panelists, and the Secretariat, thank you all once again, and goodbye for now.
Thank you very much, Fawad, and
Thank
Mr. Rami, and
Pleasure.
all
you
other
very much.
colleagues who have been here. Let's see, meet soon, inshallah.